Hey everybody, Tim here with today's review of Doctor Who story number 144, The Mysterious Planet. It was rough. It was hard. So I actually kind of debated on how to do this. This brings us to season 23, 1986. Fantastic year. I wasn't alive yet, so I don't actually know. Just made that up. So the last episode that we just did of Doctor Who came out in like March of 85. And then this episode came out in like September of 86. So Doctor Who has been off the air for 18 months. That's insane. Nowadays, that's like, oh, okay, so we're in between seasons. No big deal, whatever. BFT. So anyway, so the whole of season 3 is considered the trial of a Time Lord. That is the overall arc. It's one big story. The entire season, 4, 8, 12, I think it's 14 episodes. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. But it's one big story. And I thought about it. Like, I actually kind of talked to a couple of my friends who are super into classic Doctor Who, and I was like, I don't know, what should I do? Should I just do one big story and do a review of the trial of a Time Lord? And kind of the consensus was, nah, just break it up. It is what it is. Because that's the other thing, is a lot of people consider this one story. And so I'm going to break it up. I think it's 4 stories. And it's going to throw off the numbering, and I don't care. It's my reviews, it's my numbering. Fuck everybody else. So if you don't like it, oh well. Overall, speaking of not liking it, it's not a great story. 4 episodes. We are now back down to the 20-minute storyline. It's like 24 minutes, whatever. And I don't know. Like, I really liked it when it was 40 minutes. I don't know why. Me watching 2 40-minute episodes compared to 4 20-minute episodes, the 2 episodes just seems easier. I don't know why. It's the exact same amount of time. It's that whole like psychological thing where like if you have a short fat glass and a tall skinny glass, like which one has more? It's the exact same amount, but for whatever reason the tall glass seems like it has more. Like, me watching 4 shorter episodes seems like a chore. Like, it's a little bit difficult. But watching 2 long episodes is easy peasy. I'd blitz through that easy. So, I don't know. But it is what it is. We're almost done. And once we get to the new Who, they're all long episodes. So it doesn't matter. This story starts with the new music. I don't like it. To quote the second Doctor, it's like, oh, you redid the intro. I don't like it. It's too poppy. Like, it's too techno-y. I don't know. I'm not a music person, so I can't like specifically say like what I don't like about it, but it's just, I don't like it. It is what it is. Moving along, as soon as we got out of the intro, as far as the music, the actual opening scene is amazing. It is mind-boggling good. Like, I mean, granted, like, you look at it and you look at, like, stuff now in 2020, and, like, the graphics are terrible, but, like, just the actual, like, CGI and stuff like that, where we see, like, all of the spaceship and then the TARDIS getting sucked into it, it was phenomenal. Like, it was so good. Like, they probably blew, like, a whole budget episode on just that intro. It was great. So the whole thing is the Doctor is being put on trial, and they even say, like, you've been on trial before, which I'm assuming is kind of a shout out to the second Doctor going into the third Doctor. But it's fine. We meet the Valeyard, and then, I don't know, as soon as, like, the trial part is kind of interesting. As soon as we get to, like, the mysterious planet, which the whole episode is basically told in flashback. It's evidence presented by the Valeyard. So, which is kind of interesting. And it's, I don't know, it didn't interest me. For one, granted, it's been 18 months. It's been over a year. I still hate Peri. And I feel like Peri's accent actually got worse. Like, when they're on the planet, and she's like, it's a fireball. And I was like, okay, you're clearly British. Like, I don't even know if you're trying to be an American anymore, but, like, you're failing. And there's just certain lines. Like, it's the vowels. She can't say, like, I mean, she can say them, obviously, but she can't do an American vowel, which I never realized that it was that difficult, but whatever. So, the whole thing is Perry and the Doctor end up on this mysterious planet, and hence the title. And it ends up being Earth, where they get there. And the Doctor's like, it's weird. The gravity's the same as Earth. The rotation is the same as Earth. There's a sign that says the Marble Arch that's the same as London on Earth. Guess what? It's Earth. So that's the whole big twist, is Earth has now been moved, and people have created religions. And the one scene that kind of made me laugh, but it's kind of a dated thing, like, it would have been more interesting if it had been updated. Like, if they redid this story and did it today, like, what would they pick? There's a whole religion, and they're like, we have 3 sacred texts. And it's like, okay, well, what are they? And it's like, it's Moby Dick, all about a white guardian. Okay. It's the Water Babies. I've never heard of this book. I did like a 10-second Wikipedia, and evidently it's super controversial. Moved it along. And even the Doctor's like, so far your library sucks. And then it's the UK habitats of the Canadian goose. Okay, so that's a thing now. And so, I don't know, like, it'd be interesting. If they made this story today, what 3 sacred texts would it be? Like, I don't even know. I'm not even going to venture to guess. But it'd be funny to see which 3. Which 3 would you pick? What would your 3 sacred texts be? Overall, as we continue, like, the Earth has been moved, and there's a robot in control that I did not care about. And then finally we get kind of the end, and the Valyard's like, the Doctor meddled! Which, in my mind, I'm like, dude, we're 23 years into this show. Like, that's all he fucking does is meddle. Like, we get it. And he's like, the Doctor needs to be put to death. It's not going to happen. For one, we know it's not going to happen because there's, like, 8 more Doctors after this. But even, like, if I was in 1986 watching it, I'm like, no, they're not going to do it. It's one of those, like, I hate anytime, like, a main character is like, oh no, I'm going to die. No, you're really not. It's the kind of the joke of, like, Family Guy, where they're making fun of Star Wars, and they're like, are we going to survive? Well, there's, like, 4 or 5 main characters on this ship, so I think we'll be okay. That's kind of how I feel watching these shows. Like, today, in 2020... yeah, no, there's who knows? Like, because you watch something like Game of Thrones or Lost or something, and they're just like, doesn't matter if you're a main character, you're dead now. But watching this, like, knowing it's 1986, like, they're not going to kill a main character, so I don't really care. Except for Adric. Adric was a surprise. So, overall, I don't know, it was kind of rough. It's the first story of the trial, and I guess all, like, opening trial scenes are really difficult to get through. I'm disappointed that they're not wearing wigs, because I know that's a big British thing. I tried to get to, like, Law & Order UK, and you see the wigs, and I just lose it. I can't do it. So, overall, it's okay. It just seemed really, like, I don't know, a lot of the 6th Doctor stories seem very, like, patched together. Like his jacket. Like, it's just, it doesn't seem to make sense. It's like, we have, like, 15 stories. Well, let's take a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And it just doesn't flow right. I think it's a writer thing. Like, I like the 6th Doctor. I don't like Perry. And I think this story could have been interesting, but it's so patched together that I have issues with it. So, curious what you guys think of the opening scene for the trial of a Time Lord. And I will see you guys next time for Mind Warp.